And we're doing this all over a scheduled period. So we're really your accountability buddies. We are holding you accountable. We are helping you understand that this is obtainable. And we're doing that over a 6-month period. So now we have two pathways to CAM, self-study and 6 months to CAM. And by the time everyone's listening to this, 6 months to CAM will be open for registration. So you can go on NBA's website and find some more information about it.
Hello and welcome to the LD Aviation Podcast. It used to be called Business Aviation Collective, but now we're going to swap that over to LD Aviation. So welcome. And today we get a chance to talk to Tyler Austin. He's our very first podcast guest of the LD Aviation series. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Glad to be with you today. Thank you so much for the invite.
Awesome. We are so excited to talk to you. Now, Tyler, you've been with NBAA for over 10 years now. And I think probably a lot of our listeners have met you or dealt with you on some sort of basis because you're heavily involved in the certification and gosh, we see you a lot of times at the conferences. So anyway, I'm really excited to ask you all sorts of questions about that.
Yeah, 10 years has flown by. I feel like it was just yesterday I was walking into NBA's doors for the first time, and now a decade later, been a lot of fun, been able to create some new products, help build on the foundation of others. And yeah, it's great to be in this industry. It's all about relationships and getting to build those relationships from the start and see people grow in their career. That's what we're all about here at NBAA and specifically our professional development team. So a lot of fun.
That is awesome. So when you first started with NBAA, you came right into the professional development section of it. Is that right?
That is correct. So yeah, my entire time at NBAA is spent on our professional development suite of products. Products have changed. We've sunset a few. We've expanded some of our offerings. But I started out managing our professional development program, PDP, which is our professional development courses that we teach at events that they have now moved to online, some of them, as well as our scholarship program. So I ran those programs, and I've always assisted with the CAM program. And then Jay Evans retired in early 2019, which gave me the opportunity to kind of take the reins and work with the CAM governing board on the most recent growth.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got my CAM, and Jay Evans was the person who called me to tell me my story and everything. So that's what a cool program to be able to take over and be involved with.
Yeah, certification is not even in our industry, but the certification world. There are so many different programs that certify individuals. And in our industry, obviously, we didn't have a designation to say you're ready for a management role or you have the skills and abilities to lead any aviation function. And that's NBAA did. They set out to create a program, and that, we are now 21 years, almost 21 years since the program's inception. We began testing in 2003. And as of today, we have over 920 CAMs in the program's history, with over 730 of them remaining active today. So that's really exploded over the last number of years. And, a lot of it is really around the original board members and their vision to create something that has lasted this long.
And I had no idea it was 21 years that it said, or that or at least being worked on. That's the time I was just looking at what's like I lined up on my wall. And there's probably lots of people with mine. One looks like 2016. So a good ways into the program. 15 years into that programming. That's so cool. So let's talk some more about that. Originally, on the level that I went through it, was kind of like, here's a list of books, and you said read them all, but you have a new program. It's not really that new, actually, but you have a program now that helps people trying to get through the full certification process.
Yeah, so you're right. When the program was originally designed, there was really one path, self-study, doing it on your own. Maybe you set up a local study group or an internal one on your team. And since I started at NBAA, even before that, one of the most common questions was, I'm really looking forward to CAM. I want to get started. How should I do this? How should I tackle it? I see the the CAM program domains and objectives, 145 testable items. Well, how do I break that down? How do I manage that over my entire study period? And so that question was continuously posed to us on staff. And we said, all right, well, if this is the most common question, candidates need help. And a lot of times professional development is an afterthought, or it might not be an afterthought, but maybe it's the first thing to go when things get really busy. Everyone's a working professional. So we said, well, we want you to be able to do both, to have your family life, your work life, and professional development. And so we set out to make an online option, and really it's an online study. And we paced this out over 6 months. And what was funny was we actually started developing this program before the pandemic. So we started working on this in really June of 2019. So about 6 months before pandemic started. And so a lot of people said, well, this is great. You had this ready. Well, we didn't know that we needed it until we needed it. We just knew we were trying to solve a problem. But what it does is it brings together individuals from various backgrounds who are all on the same goal of becoming a CAM. And we start the program every year in July, and it runs through in December with testing all the way through January of every year. And we're just breaking down learning into manageable bites. We are giving you weekly guidance on what to read, what to focus on, where to find that information in the resources, and also giving you the opportunity to join smaller study groups. Every week, we're bringing on CAMs to share how they have prepared for the CAM over their time, what helped them, what they found useful. And we're doing this all over a scheduled period. So we're really your accountability buddies. We are holding you accountable. We are helping you understand that this is obtainable. And we're doing that over a 6-month period. So now we have two pathways to CAM, self-study and 6 months to CAM. And by the time everyone's listening to this, 6 months to CAM will be open for registration. So you can go on NBAA's website and find some more information about it.
Wonderful. So the 6 months to CAM, is there like an application process that they're only taking certain people or certain groups, number of people? And is there a fee with it as well?
Yes. So what we did was we worked with the CAM governing board and looked at our bylaws and our policies and procedures. And what our bylaws say is there is no eligibility requirement to begin studying. So while there is not necessarily a requirement, but the testing fee is included in your registration fee as well as the application fee. So regardless of the pathway, you're going to be paying those items, whether you study by yourself or you join 6 months to CAM. Yep. So you're essentially prepaying those required items. But we've had candidates join 6 months to CAM who are not yet ready, but those items are available for 2 years. And so they're prepaying their fees. They can join 6 months to CAM. They can work with others. They can jumpstart their studying and then test when they're ready. But the majority of people are testing in the program, and we require those that are eligible, they submit their application, we determine their eligibility, and they're able to test at any point in the program. The majority of folks will be testing somewhere in the October, November, December, and January timeframe. But it allows people to, again, test when they're ready. They get a free retake if they test by the deadline. So that incentivizes everyone a little bit. We do not limit participation either. So as many people that want to participate in 6 months to CAM, we can, or they can, I should say. But what we do is we have a registration deadline. So it is June 24th of this year. So we've got several months to work towards, but we don't limit the number of participants each year. As many people can sign up by the deadline, we'll let them in.
Awesome. And I will put the link to the sign up section in the notes below. And if I remember correctly, when you'd be doing the eligibility program, because I've had people ask me this, and I'm not sure if I'm eligible, meaning I'm not going to get all the number of points that I have to have. You guys actually have a pretty generous eligibility option there. I mean, all PDPs, and correct me if I'm wrong, but PDPs qualify, conferences qualify for a certain number of points. Even like a bachelor's degree, I believe some other all sorts of different types of educational items qualify. So I encourage people when they ask me, I'm like, just fill it out, see how many points you can get. You really might be surprised that you are eligible.
Yeah, we determined pretty early on, and actually our eligibility requirements haven't changed in the entirety of the program. It's a minimum of 2 years in the industry and a minimum of 100 points collectively on your application. And that's current and previous employment, education, as you said, bachelor's degree, master's degree. So your highest degree obtained will qualify. Licensing, so our all of your pilot's license, dispatcher's license, maintainer licenses, and then, as you said, professional development. Tons of opportunities in the industry, whether it be NBAA or industry training providers. The CAM Governing Board approves nearly 100 different unique opportunities to gain or use as recertification credits every year, and so. Tons of opportunities through NBAA, as you said, our conferences, all the way, we have opportunities ranging from a quarter point all the way up to 4+ points. Obviously for CAMs, there's you can max out at 4 points in your 3 years, but on an application level, we have PDP courses that receive 12 points covering multiple objectives. So there is, if you find yourselves having a small gap, professional development is the easiest way and the fastest way to fill that gap if you're considering CAM. And we always ask people, hey, reach out to us. You don't know, unless you look at the application, you're not sure where you're at. Give us a call, send us an email. We're more than happy to walk you through the application. Just did that last Friday with an applicant, and he said, oh, well, I'm much further along than I expected. I'm able to really look at this as an option next year. And so we can help you look at and help you work on your professional development plan and help you see that this can be much sooner than you anticipated.
That's awesome. What a great program. And now let's talk about once you've gone through the whole program, the testing, the pass, you get the phone call, and you're so excited. Now there are opportunities to network, and during conferences also have even the ability to weigh in on what the questions are for the future test. What other things do you guys set up for CAMs?
Yeah, as you said, once you gain your credential, you're now a part of this CAM constituency, the community of CAMs in the industry. As I said, over 730 distinguished CAMs in this group, which is just fantastic. But there are so many opportunities. Really, CAM is a license to learn. It's a license to continue to grow, and that growth can happen in a multitude of different ways. Getting involved at the local level with local and regional groups, getting involved at the national level. As you said specifically, we need help ensuring that our exam is healthy and is geared towards the future. And so our exam is designed and developed by the CAM Governing Board Testing Committee and industry CAMs. They help us write challenging test questions that align with the CAM job analysis and is geared towards the future. So that's one way. A lot of people have come out of that exam saying, well, who wrote those questions? How did they come to be? And it's a great opportunity for folks to get involved and really see kind of the behind the scenes process. But that's just, as you said, one way. Getting involved with committees is a fantastic way, and we respect that and we give you credit. So being a part of a committee, whether it be industry or NBAA, you can get upwards of 1 point per year from being on that standing committee. So we really, at the CAM Governing Board level, look at what are our CAMs doing and how do those things align with the CAM program domains and objectives. That's really the crux of why we do things and why things are or may not be approved for CAM credit. And that's all about, obviously, maintaining your credential. And so there's a lot of things that are extremely important, but are more on the technical side. When you look at the CAM program, it is all about management best practices across these 5 domains. So we, dive a little bit shallower on some of the more technical things because we know our industry training providers cover those things extremely well. And for CAM, it's not necessary. But we look at what do our CAMs cover and how can we align some of that training and provide credit and recognize their hard work. So it's a lot of fun, and the board continues to look at different opportunities so that it is easy to maintain. It's not challenging. And for the most part, if you're remotely active, 4 points is very, very easy to obtain in a 3-year cycle.
Yeah, I think I've not ever had troubles doing it. Even if it is just attending some conferences, usually I have a PDP that I try and join. So I agree. It's not difficult to keep up. What's mine with doing that? I've also running that stuff down because mine's in next year.
Right. Yeah. It is, as you said, it comes by quickly from the time you earn your credential, and every 3 years. 3 years seems like a long time. A lot changes in 3 years. And so I think the big thing with professional development is making a plan. Just as you make a plan with any product or process or project, you have to make a plan. And I think that rings true with professional development. You want to have a plan each and every year. Now, whether that plan includes some industry training that's not aligned with CAM, that's great. It has to happen. But if CAM is going to be very important to you, you've got to make a plan and always reaching out to our teams for recommendations. We're certainly here to help. But as you said, it's not challenging, but it has to be a priority.
Definitely. Well, let's kind of shift our focus over to some of the different certifications that you guys are and PDPs. Let's talk about how about the PDPs. Let's start with that. Those are oftentimes separate dates, and then oftentimes there may be a day or two in front of a conference. I guess my one question is, how do you choose what type of a PDP gets put up in advance of the conference?
Yeah, great question. So my colleague, Molly Hitch, has been managing our professional development program since early 2019. And she has been doing a fantastic job of, as you said, determining what courses are taught where and making that a conversation between her and our professional development providers, our approved PDP providers. So each year, what we'll do is we'll put out a request to those approved providers and really look at where would you like to teach? Where do you have interest in presenting some of your approved courses, maybe one over another? And then really it's a good conversation to see what some of those courses fit better, where they could fit better. And we always look at the attendee makeup and see, do we have a really strong leadership focus at schedulers and dispatchers? Do we have some challenging, regulatory issues that are coming up? We taught a regulatory focused course just a few weeks ago at the International Operators Conference. And so we're always looking at how some of these courses align with the attendee makeup and making that a conversation with our approved providers to see what courses fit best where. Every few years, it really all depends on the amount of submissions. But just like the CAM Governing Board, PDP program has a committee, the PDP Review Committee, and that is made up of industry members as well as academic institutions. Many of them have aviation programs. All of them have aviation programs. And so we're looking at it from an academic perspective as well as an industry operator perspective or business of our business members. And anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 months plus, I'll put a plus next to that. It all depends on how many submissions we have in. Some courses are, easier to approve. It all depends on the course itself, the makeup, and how well it aligns with our PDP and CAM objectives. So that is kind of the symbiotic relationship that it has with CAM. We share the same objectives. So all 5 of the CAM domains are shared with PDP program. And so, those courses have to cover one or more of those objectives and at least 70% of each of those objectives or single objective that they're going to cover. So it's a much more in-depth review process because it is focused on education. We want to verify that if we say that, these items are covered, that they're covered at a substantial rate. So it is a more in-depth review process, which speaks to the value of those courses. But as you said, we are always trying to grow that program and have more industry training providers come on board. Really, in the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen a lot of industry companies pop up and new training providers come on board. And I think it speaks to the accessibility of content, making sure that you're meeting your customers where they are. And that's where PDP has shifted to offering some more online courses. The last couple of years have showed us that, while we're all about meeting face-to-face, wire of people that we reach every year, they'll be there. But we know that we have numerous members and non-members who can't be there for one reason or another. Maybe small teams or inability to align with the travel and we want to make sure you're doing what you need to do to maintain your business or your department. And so having products that are available online is fantastic. And we're glad to be able to offer some of this.
Yeah, I think you made 2 really good points. Is moving to things online is really helpful. I didn't know this year, and I sent 3 of my other people. But yeah, I would like to say something online, so just wasn't in to go this year. Now, I do think, since my job has a lot to do with schedule dispatcher, there's oftentimes multiple schedulers and you don't get to go because it's not in turn. Or perhaps there's not enough money in the budget, kind of like we were saying. And I love that it's more accessible to, schedulers in this budget, because I've been saying those are often terms people that are unable to do, partly because also they're manning the whole communication part of the department. You say, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you see at the conference just a few weeks ago, the majority of attendees are listening to sessions and they're coming right out, and you see them with their laptops or on the phone because they've got flights that are commencing or ending. Yeah. So even though they're there, many of them are still working, and it just speaks to their commitment to professional development. But as you said, it's not always an opportunity for everyone. So the last number of years, we have made it a priority to record all of our education sessions so that they're available to those that are on site at a very reduced rate, or if you aren't able to join us, they're available to you at a different rate. And so it's been an important part of our professional development offerings. We've been doing that at NBA Base as well as some of our other conferences. So we know that, as I said, we need to meet our members where they are. And unfortunately, while we want everyone to be able to take advantage of the in-person options, we know that that's not always available. So having a well-rounded suite of products is very important to us.
That's great. I also wanted to point out one other thing you were talking about. I think sometimes when we go into these TDPs and courses in general, we're like, well, where did this information come from? And why am I learning that? And I've seen some of your objectives, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are pretty visible on your website, and what those objectives are and what does it have to cover. It's a very rigorous process. So it's not just arbitrarily throwing some information in there onto some PDFs that you put it up on a PowerPoint. There are solid objectives that you guys have and review. And anyway, I wanted to point that out because I think that's really important, that you are going to be PDPs and they have been reviewed quite a bit before we're missing.
Yeah. Well, and just because you brought that up, I think it's good for everyone to know how those objectives actually come to be. And it is every 5 to 7 years, we go through a process that's called the job analysis. And what that is, it's a certification, not only a requirement for our accreditation by the National Commission of certifying agencies, NCCA. But it's an industry best practice. Even if you're not accredited, you should be doing this to ensure that the objectives that you're testing or teaching align with where the industry is and where it's going. And so every 5 to 7 years, some may say that's too long. You can change that based on how frequently your industry changes. Ours fluctuates a little bit, but we're in that 5 to 7 year window. We're actually going to be releasing the newest version of the job analysis this June. And so CAM and PDP share that same job analysis, but we get about 30 plus industry subject matter experts together that cover those 5 areas. And we talk about every word in those 145 items. We're breaking them down word by word, sentence by sentence, to ensure that it is representative of anyone who could be a CAM or will be a CAM, or anyone that will take our PDP courses. And then it doesn't stop there. Then we actually go out and put a survey out to the industry to help verify and validate the work that we did over those number of days and webinars. So the industry actually gets an opportunity to validate and weigh in. And so it's work done by a small group, but then it's validated by the industry, not just CAMs. We sent that out to about 10,000 people. And we had a huge response rate to that, which was fantastic because, it's not for us, it's for the industry. So we want everyone from the industry to weigh in and verify that we're on the right track or where changes needed to be. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's very important. And to your point, there's a rhyme and a reason why those objectives are written the way they are and cover some of those important topics.
Yeah. Very cool. I'm going to switch over just to a little bit. I noticed something on your LinkedIn profile. It was the ICE, and now it looks like the certification. I don't know anything about that. Looks like King and her had a bit of experience in that organization. What is that, and what does it help you do?
Yeah, so ICE is the Institute for Credentialing Excellence. So it is the credentialing organization that helps certification programs or educational institutions understand the best practices to manage those types of programs or grow those type of programs. So they're the association for really certification programs or testing organizations. And so they have tons of professional development online as well as in person. So I get to go almost every year to their in-person conference to ensure that we are maintaining the high standards of our accreditation program at CCA, but also see if we can learn some new tricks and tips with some of our vendors. And it just ensures that the CAM program stays and maintains its healthy kind of outlook. But it's been a lot of fun. There's not a lot of that opportunity in our industry because, certification programs span every type of industry. So it's not industry specific, and it really helps us understand that, we are doing the right things. We're growing in the right areas. So it's great to benchmark with other programs out there.
Very interesting. I didn't even know that program existed. That's great. Okay. So it's not just you guys kind of pulling stuff out of your hat. I mean, these are not, and also just not aviation types of development courses. These are across the board.
Exactly. It's it is a great asset that we have at our disposal, and the conference itself is smaller, but the certification world is small but large. So it's great to see a lot of the same people every year. Take some, as you said, online opportunities. I'm enrolled in another one right now, and soon enough, I will go for a industry certification. These are kind of like our certificate programs. These were more of stepping stones towards their ICE-CCP, Certified Credentialing Professional.
Wow, all right. Very cool. It's awesome. Well, good luck on that. I'll be excited to see a new certification on your LinkedIn, we guys say. Well, Tyler, now, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind kind of getting to know you more on the personal side. You was invited at NBAA for, like you said, over 10 years. Now, how do you look back in aviation in general, or in aviation? Is it more the certification and professional development side?
Yeah, so I would almost say that I fell into my position at NBA. I worked in the mortgage industry for a few years before NBA, and worked in the automotive industry for a little bit, and didn't really love what I was doing, and knew that I needed to make a change, but I wasn't ready to rush into something. And so I had a great family friend who works at the International Bridge, Tunnel, and Turnpike Association.
Okay.
So in DC, there's an association for anything and everything. And
that one's the lady.
Yeah, she has been there for a number of years, and she said, "I really think you'd like association work. You just have to find some industry that you're interested in." So from the mortgage industry, I looked at the Mortgage Bankers Association, looked at a couple others, and then one day I saw NBAA. Oh, well, that seems pretty cool. My uncle had a Hyper Cherokee 180, and so he would come up to our local airport, go fly around, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I had zero aviation background before NBA, but I knew I had the skills, which were really project management skills. Okay. What's fantastic about NBA is we've got nearly 600 industry volunteers. They're the experts. So okay. all we need for many of our programs is to be able to manage that product. So from the beginning, even looking at the position, I knew that I had the skills, and I could acquire some of that knowledge through osmosis and just being around everything. And now, certainly for the last 10 years, it's been intentional versus an accidental, exposure to aviation. And just as many of the students who are at, aviation universities, business aviation is this unknown area to them. The airlines, they see. And so, business aviation came into it with open arms, and it has been fantastic. NBA is a great organization to work for. They've given me so many opportunities, and in turn, I definitely want to pass that on to some of our newer colleagues. Brian Kester and myself almost started around the same time, and so we've grown, and now there's another group of young professionals right behind us. So it's great to see how NBA has changed, and we definitely made a home.
Well, it's so cool. And I had two things I wanted to. I find that interesting how to sell into aviation, because a lot of skeptics do the same thing. Right, there's not a lot of people who focus on this as their premier choice in high school and college. So that, to me, I think another thing this for is, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but there are maybe some jobs that you can do in the aviation industry, and yours is obviously one. It's casting some with an aviation background, especially when I'm a passion for learning. So project management, what a great example of something into the aviation community doing well without a pilot license or without a dispatch license.
Yeah, you're 100% right that there are so many. I actually think we had a title for one of our sessions at the Schedulers and Dispatchers Conference, From Accidental to Intentional, because I feel like there are a lot of schedulers and licensed dispatchers that, either, maybe they were at an aviation university and they were going to fly, and for one reason or another, it didn't work out. And this was either a backup or another great opportunity. And we like to highlight at that conference that it is intentional. This is a career path, and we're highlighting so many people who are continuing to do it. Chris Algie, we just recognized him as the 2024 Outstanding Achievement and Leadership Award recipient. We were so excited to give him that award at the conference, and there's so many others. I mean, we've given out those awards since 2008, and there's so many more people that we need to recognize. So it just goes to show that there are so many jobs in the industry, and you just have to have a passion for it, and there's going to be a job here for you somewhere.
Right. That's totally elegant. So I tell you about podcasts or books. I want to know what you like to listen to or reading.
Yeah. So, I'd be a little NBA self-serving, but I love the NBA Flight Plan podcast. I've had the great opportunity to present on those podcasts before. And I think they do a great job of highlighting very important topics in a timely manner. But outside of that, I love, ancient history and ancient archaeology. There was a Netflix series, Ancient Archaeology, which looks at really just the, not necessarily testing the theory of how old the world is, but just really looking at different periods of time. The deeper down you dig, you're going to find ancient civilizations. And so that was something I loved taking in courses in college, even on ancient archaeology and ancient civilizations. So it was a lot of fun. It had nothing to do with potential jobs. I just found an interest in it and continued to used to listen to a couple podcasts, but now I'm trying to get back into it. As we were talking, during the COVID pandemic, it was, well, I'm going to go out for a walk today. I'm going to go listen to some books. And now it's more, I use, my walks as more thinking time, being a little bit more introspective, which is nice. But, there's, as you said, there's tons of great podcasts and books out there. Like the industry, you got to find something you're interested in, and there's going to be something there for you.
Yep, I agree. And I do like that ancient archaeology stuff. I have to admit, I kind of enjoy that ancient England show as well, which I can believe or not, but it is kind of interesting, the different things that they highlight. And to remember the name. Then those lines, I want to say it's either Argentina or really the Aztec lines. Yeah. Right, with those shapes that you can see from the air, I find that fascinating. Oh, yeah. So much of them, the buildings that are like so just precisely cut. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, there's got to be a rhyme and a reason, and so I love that people are challenging history.
Yeah,
because just as in our industry, the best practice continues to change. You have to stay up to date. The more we're around, the more you know. So I kind of look at it in the same lens.
Well, that's true. This makes sense. It was less really what was intended. Very cool. Well, Alan, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you and telling us all about those different programs, and having a chance to get to know you a little bit better as well. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, maybe ask you some more questions about something, how would they find you?
Yeah, so we've got all of our information on our website. You can search the NBA directory. LinkedIn is another great place. Email is definitely the easiest, as we're getting into our busy travel season with conferences. So our emails are always first initial, which is T, last name Austin at NBAA.org. That is great. Also, Cam at NBA.org goes to my entire team. But sometimes people are like, oh, well, Tyler's got two first names, Tyler and Austin. Which one goes first? So sometimes Cam at NBAA.org gets to me a little bit faster. So, but yeah, looking forward to connecting with everyone, and really appreciate being with you and your listeners here.
Likewise, so I'll put those communication options down in the bottom for the notes as well. And great, I hope to see you at one of the next conferences.
Most definitely.
Thank you for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes and check out our website for up-and-coming podcasts. This has been a production of the Business Aviation Collective, sponsored by LD Aviation.